Okay, we're talking about Mashiach and how Mashiach is going to change the whole world, and how Mashiach is going to bring all of the other religions to realize that they're mistaken. So maybe here's a story that demonstrates this. I know I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. When one of my sons was bar mitzvah, so I took him to the Rebbe. We flew to the Rebbe for his bar mitzvah. And one of the days we just went and sort of toured around. And we were in a museum, if I remember correctly, Natural Museum, something in New York. We're in New York. And there came up to us it ended up that there were three missionaries, one woman and two men, big sort of guys, standing behind her. And she said, are you a rabbi? I said, yes. And she said, do you learn the prophets? So I said, yeah. At first I thought that this is it. The non-Jews are coming to us and they want to know about God. No, not so. So they said, well, it says in Isaiah and such and such. So she told me all these, misinterpretations of all these sentences that they had. So I said to her, listen, 1 second. I said, listen, I know those sentences and I know what you're trying to say. And, what you're saying is wrong and I don't believe in it at all. But let me just ask you one question. So you're not going to be convince me of anything. I want to ask you one question. She said, okay, sure. What's the question? So the question is, do you think that God is spiritual? So she said, what? And the men are like looking at each other as, is this a rabbi? What is this guy coming from? Do you think that God is spiritual? And so she said, I said, just answer the question. Yes or no? So she said, of course God is spiritual. So I said, well, I'm really surprised at you. You don't know the first sentence of the Bible? So she said, we know the whole Bible, right? She spoke to the guy behind him. Yes, we know the whole Bible. So I said, well, what's the first sentence in the Bible? She said, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I said, there you go. She said, what do you mean? I said that God created the heavens and the earth. The earth is all the physical world, the stars. The heavens is talking about all the spiritual worlds. In other words, God created the spiritual. God is not spiritual. He created the spiritual. And he's creating the spiritual right now. So I saw they were looking at each other like perplexed. I said, in other words, that you can understand, our God creates your God. They just looked at another and they just left. They didn't say one more word. But the fact of the matter is that's the message of Judaism. The message of Judaism is our God is a creator. It's the fourth of the 10 commandments. 6 days God created the heavens and the earth. Seventh day rested. That God is creating everything. Everything is created from nothing. He created 6 days. God created the heavens and the earth. God created the spiritual and the physical. They are creations of God. What is God himself? That's the first commandment. God took the Jews out of Egypt. He gave them the Torah. Our God creates all of the other gods, creates the whole world, but he also creates each and every one of us. And why is he creating us? From love. He wants to give us responsibility. Our God creates all the other gods. Have a good day, a good Shabbat with Mashiach now.